Houston, we have a crisis situation. Lucy Chirangwa has been left out in public. She's known to hack people, give up their sensitive information, track them, defraud them. Now professes to do witchcraft practices on their finances once she's got access. It's not just individuals. Her attacks are extended even to businesses. In 2018, okay, pardon me for saying Houston, we have a crisis. I just wanted to express the gravity of the situation. Lucy Chirangwa hacked me. Perhaps it was 2016, 2017, 2016. It may have been 2017. I was doing my student placements as a nurse. I no longer work as a nurse for a variety of very strange events that I couldn't have pointed out myself were the reasons for my nursing career demise. I got a first class, even through enduring living with someone like Lucy Chirangwa for a part during my training. It was a very difficult journey. So Lucy Chirangwa hacked me. I never used to speak about who I was in a relationship with. The hacker who I'm now dealing with, oh, I mentioned that because she found out who I was in a relationship with. And then just to confirm perhaps, she asked me in a moment of waking up, and I said his name, and immediately my heart beat and chills went down my spine like, what have I done? How weird is that? Lately, I have a hacker next door who lives in flat 4 Oak House, and yesterday he let me know that his name is Zubir Francis because he was using my laptop. So on the automated information, I normally just have Caroline Carush Charakupa come up in all sorts of different forms the minute I type C. But this time, all I had to do was click the cursor in an empty box and pop, 2 names came up. Caroline and the rest of my information. And then Zubir Francis popped up right underneath. It appears Zubir is trying to run away from his criminal confessions, serial hacking included. So, the night before, Zubir, let's start on the night before that, on the 29th, when Adam was confessing through their audio amplified recordings, telephone conversations, who knows? I don't know. So Adam was confessing from a distance that my father is really in love with you. He doesn't know what to do. He really needs to marry you for me to be okay. On this night, I didn't record anything. So Zubir was saying he's going to give himself up to the police at some point. How deceived I was. I tried not to say anything for a while listening to Adam's suggestion. This time I was not as angry hearing it from Adam. Adam hasn't been as vocal lately. He then got to the point where he expressed how he's terrified of Hannah and Zubir. And I said, yes, maybe I would have taken care of him if things were different. But when they get arrested, I eventually pointed out, you've got your grandfather, you've got your mother. Those are the people who take care of you. But Adam chose a Christian family he'd rather live with. He'd rather go and live with someone else where he gets to know a young lady who can sing. He had been suggesting that maybe I should visit his father in prison. And I was saying, I don't think I can because it depends on my husband. And then I said, no, actually, I don't think it's even appropriate to even consider that. And Zubir's audience was suggesting that no, you should just agree so that he gives himself up to the police. What tends to happen when you agree with Zubir's suggestions and audience is that he will still lie and nothing will happen. If you agree for a moment, hold on, you could get into worse trouble actually. Something's just come back to my memory. The night before I almost got arrested last year around this time. I was trying to prove I own flat 3 Oak House. I had my land registry paperwork with me. The certificate had been stolen. I had just realized, but I used to hear not in flat 4 actually, in other flats, or the audio was suggesting that it's coming from somewhere else, another floor, the level of sound. I am still a musician. So when you hear sound, you estimate. So the level of audio projected that it could have been coming from the first, second floor. But it was made to sound as if it was actually coming from the 3rd floor or the highest. However, I think there may have been someone else with similar technology who could have been amplifying their voices. But throughout the block, people were on the move throughout the day, sharing information, confirming that they owned their flats. Someone had also come down first thing in the morning, maybe not first, but some point in the morning, and shouted down the corridor, something to that effect too, that they were proving that they owned their flats. A lot of people have moved away from this block. Original owners, perhaps, or the people who used to rent long term. A lot of people from the other sides. On the ground floor, it appears we may still be the same people. So on the ground floor, it may be just one person I haven't met recently. Regardless, okay, so there have been many people on the move. If they're tenants, it's possible that the housing association can just swap them over. I'm a homeowner, I can't just up and leave. A lot of people have given up their flats for rent or sold them. There have been many plaques. Okay, back to the hackers. So, Lucy Tsitsichirengwa hacked me, and then she found out who I was dating at the time. Even Calvin and I had not even exposed it to other people directly that we were dating. It was our secret. But on an angry morning, let me say I got my heavenly sixth sense to beware of Lucy, who was coming to pry. I had never discussed relationships with her because one of the times I met her, we were in the church service and it had been disclosed to her that she should get ready for her marriage. I was in those groups way before her, and I was so grateful that nothing had been revealed for me that night. So she had a moment, and I was quite supportive, bit my lip and everything. Didn't get in the way of her celebrating, hearing something like that, presumably for the first time. But I knew to guard my heart, to guard my information, because it was not by choice that I was with her that night. I'd been separated from the people I would have been preferred to spend time with. If anything, had I had the money, I would have been on my own. However, Rosie Tsirangwa continued to celebrate until she decided to say something like, "Oh, you will be my bridemaid." I thought, really? I wouldn't have wanted that. First, I've done the whole bridemaid thing. Secondly, I didn't think I would be available. Thirdly, I didn't think we were close enough. So, no problem. People do ask others to be their bridesmaids. She must have known I've been a bridesmaid for others in our community. However, apparently when I report this, I should always face right. But I'm a human being. I'm not going to get a stiff neck over it. So Lucy Sisirongwa then called me the morning I had a very strong heavenly sixth sense not to say anything about my situation. She called later that afternoon, much, much later. I was actually near Calvin's house, but I was doing something else. I was closer to where I was living. And I said, nothing's going on. But she had asked me, what's going on? Are you still in a relationship with Ishe? She spoke of him like he was familiar to her. I don't know if they knew each other, That's Calvin's middle name. I don't know if they knew each other or she was just reading my secret recordings. I used to write my secrets, my thoughts, my discernments about our relationship. The things you don't actually discuss with a man if he's not expressing it. But for me, we were comfortable. I wasn't saying a lot either. Perhaps he's an introvert too. We could just sit for hours quietly, watch movies, chill. That ship has sailed. Lucy Shirengwa introduced Calvin to somebody else. She was working for Delta. Her heart was broken. She gave up Delta's sensitive information, and the guy she was dating decided to give her up. She was trying to break his destiny and his future. He figured it out somehow and went off to the sunshine with his now wife. Not only from that time. I don't know about his relationship with the other woman. But yes, he married somebody else. So Lucy Chirengwa must have decided she would make that happen to me. Because she had decided her news must work out before mine does. What she did not know was I had been getting the same encouragement for much longer, but I had my own difficulties. Or maybe actually she was just revealing her part in my difficulties. Because lately Lucy Chirengwa has been logging into Zubia's system. What's been happening in 2025? Oh yes, Delta did fire her for sharing that information. When you work in finance, it's easy to navigate into jobs, agencies, whatnot. Who knows who else recruits her? Private businesses. There's a risk of hiring that girl. From hiring that girl. 2025, Lucy decided to log in, and on one of the mornings much like this, revealed somehow she had hacked Calvin. Has been speaking to him at length. She was pursuing or in agreement with Jonathan Charakupa while she discussed with Calvin. Calvin also was pursuing her once she heard that Jonathan Charakupa is about to be married to Lucy. Perhaps he decided he wants to make her dreams come true. I was not at all opposing that situation. Me and Jonathan Charakupa are not anything anymore. So I'm quite okay with that, as long as he's kept busy. Otherwise, he keeps sending other people towards my potentials. I have recently been in agreement with a certain gentleman that we're now husband and wife. So, having moved on, I'll continue disclosing what I'm disclosing. Mr. J.R. Shetem. So, now, the situation is that Zubia and Hannah are still hacking me. The woman that Lucy Chirengwa introduced Calvin to also became a hacker. Apparently, their marriage didn't last very long, from December 2019. And they chased each other all the way from Zimbabwe, from a kidnapping situation, and came to England. I met that woman from pretentious tears through the wall in my storage space, which she would just stop. I think actually when Zubir arrived around 4 p.m. This is the storage space sometimes. And somehow the boiler was being affected. Oh, Zubir has been confessing that they've been burgling my flat. I got this boiler attended to, but one day I found this orange part falling apart. And, well, the first thing was how this part is flimsy. I never used to be able to open it up just so easily. I actually thought, oh, what a job. But it was not the same day that I had found it open like this. I don't have the boiler repairs number at the moment. The phone that I had that had this number, I don't remember. His name is Adrian. So there's a lot that happened here that I can't explain. But for quite a while after the boiler was fixed, last year, apparently the man was in the adjacent flat. I would not know, because it was just talk, suggestions from flat 4. I won't go further with that because I wouldn't understand it. However, there was a lot of weird occurrences in this room. When we come back to Hannah and Zubir, who were still deceiving people that they were husband and wife, Hannah had been the one who was in that flat. And then with the other girl who used to pretend to be crying here. I guess our walls are thin enough. We would hear each other. And then they used to do these weird things, weird cries if I had my heating on. Weirdest cries. I think the audios had already been connected in this flat or something. So I used to try and ignore them. And sometimes I could even sleep on the floor. Pad it up, have a lie down. But it seems Hannah, since burgling me, that's all I can make sense of it, had already done something to the heater. Maybe had put the audios in the heating area. Because I can't explain it. Why would they be so annoyed with me putting my heating on? Because this is where the hot water runs from. I used to keep it off most of the time. It was summer when I first realized that there are people who seem to hide out. So perhaps I've been pointing out Zubir behind whatever's been happening. Hannah was the one I used to see first until I saw that man sneak around. Let's keep this short. So the woman who was introduced was Lynette Ferramo. From their confessions, she's in Zimbabwe, by the way, settled in another relationship, apparently. Perhaps with one child. From their confessions, Hannah and Lynette eventually fought each other over this part. I'm not very clear. Over Zubir or over Calvin? Because apparently Lynette wanted to prove their relationship had broken down because of Calvin's infidelity, so she hired Hannah to seduce him. That sounds familiar, actually. Jonathan Charakupa had been trying to catch me out moving into a new relationship, so to speak. Because of somehow my flat being bugged from the burglaries, he would have known when to come to my flat in Oak House, Romford. We've never really discussed his property in Romford. He thinks I don't know. So I've moved on from Jonathan, and after about 3 weeks in our marriage, of realizing that Jonathan was checking out already, I was already moving on. I was quite open-minded. It's okay. So Lynette did something quite similar to what Charakupa has been planning to do to me. To catch me with somebody else, perhaps beat me up or threaten me, or eventually just drag me to Zimbabwe as if I didn't know that he was already out of the relationship. So to summarize, Lucy Zisirangwa was heartbroken, came after me and my relationship, made sure my relationship could not be retrieved. Oh, she has been confessing she uses witchcraft. Hannah already does not hide that she uses witchcraft. Lynette is in Zimbabwe. Zubia has been confessing since July that they're hackers, thieves. I've got a video of him explaining to someone he was going to steal. He was so angry that I was sitting in my flat one night, because apparently he had scheduled his moment to break into my flat. I was so busy and I decided I will just ignore this guy. He was getting himself worked up outside. He didn't sound coherent. I just ignored him. I'd had enough of being bullied. He was not as vocal outwardly like that last year. And when he's outside, he's not always as vocal. Lately, he runs, even tries to hide behind Adam for fear of being addressed to explain himself. So, Savir's other pretends to be innocent or attempt to cover up his crimes and hide out. Hannah did something for him over the weekend. She lied that he had moved out for a month. no, a month ago. He's still right next door. Was on the 29th, 28th, he managed to get his son to confess. He must have been intimidating him or something if he wasn't in the flat, because we got a lot out of him. Eventually, it came up to how we found out that when Zubir got arrested a few years ago, it was because he had caught Hannah abusing his son and beaten her up. Hannah must have been offended that I found out that there was trouble in their flat and just prayed. And apparently he was released. So that's probably the witchcraft part. If you don't believe it, witchcraft can actually manipulate someone's thinking, control, mind control. This is not defense for what Zubir is doing, but it might just give some insight as to why they're still together if he won't marry her. From their discussions in there, it sounds like she's now with a different sexual partner in that flat, but the access was initially given to her, and then probably along the way as Zubir was settling in that flat and is the one who seems like the worker, he's the one who in there pretends to be a married couple. I don't know. Perhaps his name are the ones on the bills. I've only ever seen his post in mine. To see his name on a 3 bill, and I returned the post. They've stolen my stuff before. Well, Hannah has. I don't think she keeps the things she steals because she keeps the same look. At first she did it once. I do remember seeing her in a bright pinkish reddish top when she was asking me as I stood out on my patio. And she was asking me, that was the first day she introduced herself. Unfortunately, she didn't look that normal either then. But now she wears all black quite a lot. Actually, her outlook has deteriorated quite a lot from that moment when she was introducing herself. Perhaps she tried to recover it last year, just slightly. But she still seemed like she was wearing pajamas outside. I'm not dissing. I had a pair of pajamas similar. So, I don't know. They can't pass for outdoor clothing, blue stripes. And she was wearing that out. So, this is not me knocking her dress sense or anything. I can rock my pair of pajamas out in summer. It's just, it makes me look so much different. So I wouldn't really wear them out a lot. And I got quite a lot of defamation when I wore them last year. Perhaps that's why Hannah was wearing those similar pants to look Indian. Because she's European and she was living with Asians. I'm gonna leave this at that. So there's been quite a bit. So I've disclosed Lucy. I've disclosed Lynette. I've disclosed Hannah's interference and Subir's. Subir is also doing questing in relationships. I'm already in another relationship. We're having trouble with a bag in transit at the moment. That bag has quite a few solutions for us, but it doesn't stop the fact that our intentions for relationships have been expressed to each other. And now I'm wearing these rings again from our agreement because I have to wait for the other rings to be recovered. I'm that guy. No. So, send me an email if you'd like to discuss. So, from your question, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Lucy Sherengwa starts going there, even with Jonathan Charakupa. Apparently, Calvin House goes there. But I can't really go there. Apparently, they've been trying to get me to go there now. I'm not sure what that does for them. Yes, it was very, very uncomfortable. I cried my eyes out at the end of the service. I wouldn't say it was confusing at all. From what I've been learning about the type of person I am, from the counseling I've been having, I understand and so do the people who were there and what I was experiencing, that they really wanted to make sure that I knew I wasn't welcome. But some of it was not really like that. It was probably just an introduction. Things can get really bad when you're in public, with this noise pollution spreading and people being quite intentional about letting you know it's not noise pollution anymore. I've had a death threat in a library. Expressed by someone who began their conversation directed at me with, "I have mental health diseases." And so I ignored, and the name calling began. And the person they were sitting with also was trying to calm that person down. Had that person not been there, or had then gone the separate ways, I do not know the spectrum they are on. I had to report it to the police immediately. The woman was calmly trying to get the guy back into whatever they were doing. So I had to go into the police, show them a picture, let them know there was someone in the library who was quite intimidating. They seemed quite calm, but you never know depending on someone's spectrum of mania. It was not for me to be discerning what kind of mental health they have or engage. So I ignored. I have tried countless times to ignore Zubir, but he gets even more aggressive. Until even the young man in there, the day of the video that I've been showing officers, the young man stepped out and shouted to him, "What are you doing? Are you trying to expose yourself?" He was still on the phone. And he was explaining to someone that, no, I was going to steal. Like he was not trying to hide it, his intention. So the other night when he called the police, he was trying to give himself in. He had been advised, tell them that you're in love with the Christian next door, but now you're trying to be a good Muslim, or you're trying to get back into Muslim life. Because apparently Zubia has had Christian encounters that he's trying to block out. I wonder what sort of experience he's had. Is it about Jesus that he's resisting to the extent that he'll extend himself as though he is with this property flat next door? I don't understand. And why he would walk around saying that I am his wife, I do not understand, or that I am his child, or I'm his childminder, or get other people to say the same things. I really don't understand. We've never sat down together. We've never been in agreement. I think I should make that clear because it's confusing a whole lot of situations. And when he decides that he wants something done, I'm not sure what, because I think a lot of what I hear from that flat is deception, unless they're not aware or thinking that I might actually report. So I'm going through too much. Today I have to be trying to recover my baggage internationally. And yet Zubia is hiding out in flat 4 Oak House. And Hannah seems so weak outwardly and does not raise her voice in their amplifying appliances as much. And they do not use that communal exit as much, the patio doors, except around 1 a.m. every night. So if you've seen any videos on my YouTube account, I don't know if that's when Hannah's been practicing her athletics. It's quite fast. It's possible she can jump over this, and then my chains will shake, and off she goes. I have another video that I recorded as I went after whoever had been on my patio that morning. It led all the way across the road with someone actually talking about, oh, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to startle you. I really didn't think you'd follow me. Highlighted